by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's good! LeBron James from downtown.
Good morning, welcome back to episode of 3 Guys with Mike. As always, I'm Jeremiah with my two co-hosts here,
William.
Little man.
And as we all know, the NBA Finals are coming to an end, right? Series is now 3-2 with the Warriors taking home Game 5 last night in Golden State, right in the Bay. As we all know, it's going back to Boston across the country in Game 6. A lot of pressure here. A lot of pressure here on the Celtics, right? As we all know, the Warriors won by 10 points yesterday. And not a lot of people know this. In Game 4, they also won by 10 points in Boston, right? So 2 games in a row, 2 10-point deficits for the Boston Celtics. It's something to be concerned about, right? Especially with you're going home. And, Luman, you said this stat right now. Steph Curry, how many threes did he hit last game?
0.
He hit 0 threes last game, and they still won by 10. Somebody once told me Andrew Wiggins could be the Finals MVP. Didn't believe it, right? Oh, wait. No. I said that. I said that on 3 Guys with Mike. I said Andrew Wiggins at times is the best player in this series. I said Andrew Wiggins is performing better than Stephen Curry, and I was ridiculed. No one believed me. They called it hypocrisy. And look what happened now.
I can't believe.
Willie, you being the Boston Celtics fan, I'll let you talk about it here. What happened?
So gonna address what you just said. Andrew Wiggins is not the best player on the court. Stephen Curry having a lackluster game and still putting up decent stats after what he just did in Game 4, Game 3, Game 2. You know he has the most points in this entire series on both teams. So I'm not gonna go on Andrew Wiggins. Again, Andrew Wiggins has been their second best player, and if anything, the second best player in the entire series. But going on with Boston, looking at it, championship DNA is the biggest thing I look at. Warriors, they have it through and through. As we know, we saw the stats before Game 1. We saw that Boston had 0 experience on the coaching staff, as players or anything of that nature, and this team, it's showing. They just lack presence, they lack awareness when it comes to turnovers. I know the number of turnovers is embarrassing. When you have over 16 turnovers, I believe you're 1-9. When you have under 16, you're 7-1, I believe. So, looking at it, it's not even just the turnovers, but the time when the turnovers come. Me and you we saw Game 3, right? And we were saying how they had momentum, they were up by a reasonable lead, and then they let turnovers just get to them, and then the Warriors came back in.
I was Game 4.
Game 4. So, if you look at it, Boston, it's not even the stats, you can go off the stats, but just looking at their situational awareness, just their urgency, their quarters, we know they fixed it in Game 4 and 5, but looking at it, it's just still, it's just sad how a team comes out of the locker room and they come unprepared. The Warriors blow them out of the water. And yeah, I just think championship DNA is the biggest thing in the series. I think Tatum doesn't have it right now. I don't think he's going to have it for the rest of the series. Brown, again, everyone was saying he was the MVP. Looking at him, he hasn't played a complete game either. I don't understand it. People could be surprised, and it's the same thing with Andrew Wiggins. They haven't played a complete game through and through, but they're the most surprising, so people are going off of that. But I still think Curry's the Finals MVP if they win. I think Tatum is having one of the worst series I've seen him play. Stats-wise, he's still fine.
Yeah.
He's still fine stats-wise, but look at the efficiency. He's been horrible. And also, he's playing to get calls instead of playing to actually score the basketball. That's the biggest thing, and that is only a thing in this series. It's been a thing all playoffs, all year, and even in the past 2 years, ever since he's become this quote-unquote superstar or a star. He expects to get those calls. He expects to get those calls, and he's not. So, again, he has to fix that if they want to have any chance. I'm not bailing on this team by any means because I do think that they could bounce back, but it needs to be a drastic change. They can't keep on doing the exact same thing.
You know, I'm really glad you bring it up, Willie, because we see superstar players, right? Jason Tatum is a superstar. Superstar players like Tatum, like LeBron, like Luka, multiple times throughout the season, argue calls at the baseline
and don't get back
on defense, right? It happens from time to time, right? And maybe it happens twice, 3 times, right? Well, that's 9 points. That's 3 baskets, 6 points, right?
Yeah.
Like you truly never know, right? And I feel like that's something like you kind of like you don't get the call, you hustle back. You get me? Like it's like in the NFL, the equivalent is Phillip Rivers, right? Like it's if you don't get the call, just go hustle back on defense. You still have a job to do as a superstar on this team. Like you arguing is only going to get you a technical, or you're going to get the refs pissed off, and they're really not going to give you the call, right? Aaron.
Yeah, so reminding back to Game 3 was probably one of Draymond's worst games.
Yeah.
And I think the Boston crowd kind of played into that one a lot. And then Game 4 happened when Steph Curry went absolutely berserk.
Probably his best
And
game
I think
of all
that's when the tide kind of shifted with Andrew Wiggins. Like, I know he probably might win Finals MVP if they win, but I'm just saying I think Andrew Wiggins has done, besides scoring, has done arguably more than Steph Curry with defending, rebounding, the hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all there. Like, if I had to vote for Finals MVP, that's what I'd be looking off of. And I'd give it to Wiggins. But I know Steph Curry's probably obviously going to win it. And then last night's game, like how we were talking about, when the Warriors shoot 9 for 40 and they somehow win an NBA game, that just doesn't seem right to me. Especially if it's against the Celtics, who have had the best defense in the didn't they say it's like one of the best defenses in the past years, something like that, right? And Kevon Looney, I feel like people have to start giving him his flowers too. That dude just hustles every night, night in, day out, and all the rebounds he's been getting. I mean, he's not going against easy people. I mean, Al Horford and Robert Williams, they're both, one's an all-star and one's all-defensive team this year. So it's not like it's coming easy. And last night I thought Jaylen Brown, a lot of those turnovers were on him. And I thought the second half he was really getting in his own head. Yeah. And you know how we say, I'm not saying he's anywhere near Andre Drummond's level, but how we say Andre Drummond is like an all-star, but like he somehow doesn't find a way to impact the game. I feel like that's what we saw from Tatum last night in the fourth quarter. Like, he was there, he was putting up the stats, but it's just like he's just not getting the buckets when you need to.
I would say, he did affect the game in the third quarter, but when it came to the fourth, and that's the thing that I wanted to address was Game 4. If you do lose the series, I think you have to look at Game 4 and think that's where we lost it. You have a lead, you're playing great, you're up by 3 with 5 minutes left in the game, and then you go to an all-3 offense, which is what they used to do with teams that were led by Brad Stevens. They used to go back and just shoot threes, not get easy points, and that's their biggest fault is that Jaylen Brown, he's not situationally aware of when it comes down to the clutch. Tatum isn't either. Marcus Smart, by far, is probably the one who is the least aware in those situations. But just if you look at it, I think they need someone to calm them down. Al Horford can do that on the defensive side, but he's not a true ball handler. I think you need someone like that. And again, what you said before the playoffs, right? I feel like we were both right. I think you saying they can't go far because of Smart as their point guard. I think also, obviously you were proved wrong, but I think I was also proved wrong is that we can't win a championship with him being our main ball handler. So I think we just need someone to calm us down, get us easy buckets, but it's not going to work out. I think...
I mean, there's technically still 2 games.
No. I know, but I'm saying they still have to... They could win, but I want to see them win a close game. I don't want to see them... Because they obviously could win by 12, 13 points, how they've been winning. But when it comes to a close game, I trust the Warriors by miles over this.
Keep in mind, this is their first back-to-back loss since March.
Since March, yeah.
So that means a lot, especially for them going back to Boston. This next Game 6 is... To me, it's giving me 2016 vibes. I feel like it's that huge.
And one thing I'm going to say here, too, is like the Celtics... They've had like big third quarters, right? That's kind of been the thing, right? But in the fourth quarter is when they've really been struggling. So in Game 4, they only had 19 points in the fourth quarter, right? And then in Game 5, they had 20 points in the fourth quarter, right? That's what allows the Warriors to either win games or come back or maintain that lead, right? As we also, I don't know if you watched the game or if you turned it off or not, but the Celtics, it was like 4 or 5 minutes left. They really got in Tatum's head. I mean, the Warriors really got in Tatum's head, right? Really got in his head. Draymond's been in Grant Williams' head rent-free since the start of the series, right? Grant Williams has had 3 points in back-to-back games, right? And he's your 7th man.
I did not see that coming, I'm being honest.
Peyton Pritchard has had 1 point in the last 2 games, and he's your 8th man, right? Derek White had 1 point last game, and he is your 6th man. You can't win basketball games when your bench is giving you that, right? If your bench gives you 4 points, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, you mean like there's not much to do? And sure, we could blame it on Tatum and blame it on Brown, and they just point the finger, right? However, if your role players are not doing their role, it's hard to win. Like we look at the Warriors, right? Well, they have role players like you mentioned Kevin Looney, you mentioned Jordan Poole, right? Like guys you could plug in and they could give you minutes, right? The other night they started Otto Porter Graham Jr., right? He only had 3 points, right? Yeah, it's like come on, right? They have Jonathan Kuminga. They have guys that can plug and play, right? In this system. I feel like that's kind of what is gonna push them over the hump, right? Granted, you're not going to get 43 from Steph every single night, as we saw the other day, right? Last night, right? He had 0 threes, right? Like, however, them being able to win, opposed to a performance by Steph or Clay and whatnot, is like, it shows where they're at in compared to where the Celtics are at.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said, and I think this series completely flipped. Because
Yeah.
you look at it in the first 3 games, I would say Boston had the better team, the better bench. They were the ones who were performing better. But then as the series went on, Curry had his 43 points, and then now he kind of
Wiggins
dipped down. Yeah, Wiggins steps up, Jordan Poole steps up, Clay somewhat has stepped up from
Sure.
his first 2 games. Look at everyone on that team is really just scoring, and they're doing their role, which they need to do. And as you said, Boston isn't doing it. And I also think another factor to why this series is going the way it is, and again, this isn't an excuse, but I think this is a fault of the Celtics. If you go to 2 series in a row with physical teams, game 7s, you're going to get tired. You're going to be tired playing a lot back to back to back. And again, like I said, I don't know if I said in the video, but I wanted us to win game 6 because we needed the rest.
Yeah.
Now you cut your rest. You only have 3 days before the series started. Again, you have 2 days in between games, but it's still a lot traveling, and your team has been playing for about 8 months straight. So anything you have to say?
Yeah, I feel like my main point for the whole series and why it's like a big turnaround now is because I'm seeing the Warriors do to the Celtics what the Celtics have done to the past teams that they played.
Mm-hmm.
They're making it hard. They're drawing offensive fouls. Like, I mean, I know they're flops. Like that one on Jordan Poole yesterday. That was a flop, and he was getting. That's what I'm saying, getting in their heads.
Yeah.
And the Celtics are what? All their finals experience is only one person, right?
No,
I didn't have any.
I mean, I think Ime has some, but he was an assistant coach. He wasn't.
Yeah, and that's just like a highlight right there. What the Warriors do best is get in your heads, especially in the finals. They get in your heads, and they play opposite to you. They make you feel the pain that you put on other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, another thing is just like how I said, championship DNA. I feel like it's easy. It's easy if you're Jordan Poole, you're Wiggins. If you have those 3 guys on your team, Draymond, Clay, Curry, if they're not doing what they need to do, it's easy. It's like you've been in a situation where, let's say you're making food, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have someone who's made the recipe before. You feel comfortable enough to do it. But if you had to do it all on your own, you're not going to know. So with the Wiggins thing...
It's a good analogy.
Yeah, like with the Wiggins thing. I think he's playing out of his mind. And again, we were all making fun of him being a starter for the All-Star game. I think he deserves it. I mean, honestly, now he deserved it. Yeah. But again, All-Star game is a separate thing. It's a different process. But looking at it, if you have Curry on the other side, you know he's struggling, but you know he's drawing all the attention. And Andrew Wiggins is just like, I'm gonna just go do me. I'm gonna be a dog. I'm gonna play hard for 48 minutes the entire game. Yeah. And as you saw, even when the game was kind of out of hand, he was still going at it. He was going to the rim, going to the basket. Yeah. So it's like I feel like he deserves his props. But I do think that it's easier for everyone else to just fall in if your stars are playing great or they have the championship DNA. Anything else you guys have to say? Oh, there you go. So what do you guys think is gonna happen Thursday night?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, everybody's been asking me this, man. Like, oh yeah, like, it's a closeout game, right? There's no way the Warriors are, as a veteran team, an experienced team. There's no way they're gonna allow the Celtics to, pick up a game at home. Take them. I'm like, bro, like, the Celtics are in the finals for a reason. The Celtics won as many games this year like from January 1st all the way to now, right? Mm-hmm. Like the best record in the NBA. Like, there's a reason they're here. Like, they're like, I'm not just gonna throw, like, they're not a team that is just gonna get pushed over, right? Yeah. I don't believe that, and think of Boston fans in general, right? Like, even like Boston sports, right? Like diehard fans, tough gritty players. Like, I don't see this Boston Celtics team just dying to get pushed over at home, right? And like, I don't see that happening. And as we all know, Tatum never really has 2 bad games in a row, right? Granted,
he's had 5 in a row.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
Granted, like we said, like he's had 26-point games, right? 25-point games. But I think he's due for a big one. And there's no other time, right? When you think about Game 6 versus the Bucks, right? He showed up, right? Had a huge game, right?
On the road as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now this is Game 6 at home. Your team needs you. You're the superstar. You're on all the posters. You're on all the billboards. They paint your mural on the walls, right? Why don't you go ahead and prove your worth? I think this is a big game for Tatum, right? I don't want to hear, Brown has the... No, I don't know. Brown, it has to be Tatum. It has to be Tatum, and that's that.
To me, it has to be Robert Williams and Al Horford. I think
they're going to beat the Warriors.
They have to have a pivotal part in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, but
is it not a team sport?
No, yeah, but
this guy right here.
Listen. I agree because I agree with both of you guys, and it's just like how I said. If you see a guy doing all the work, you're like, you know what, my role is going to be that easier. If
Yeah,
you see Curry going off for 43 points, everyone else is going to be like, my role is going to be easier. Looking at Tatum, in that game when he scored 46, Brown and Smart had 25 of their own. So it's like if you see someone else doing all the heavy load, you're like, you know what, all I need to do is just get a few points in here and there. And yeah, I do think that the entire team has to play great actually. But yeah, like you were saying, you're going back to your home crowd. You know your season's on the line for a championship. You're gonna go back to Golden State if you win this game. I feel like I'm not gonna say they're gonna win. I'm not gonna say they're gonna lose, but I think they should show heart. I think they will show heart. And if they do lose, I don't think it'll be like the efforts in Game 4 and 5. I think they're gonna play a full game.
It won't be a 10-point game.
Yeah,
it'll be a best game.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But you think it's ending Thursday, or do you think it's gonna go Game 7?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I think I'm leaning towards Andrew Wiggins and Steph closing it out on
It can happen.
Thursday. I mean, it is Game 6 and Klay Thompson's playing.
Yeah. He's averaging like 26 points in Game 6. That's insane. But looking at it, I also think that Boston, the record at home this playoff series, minus the Brooklyn series, they haven't been that good. I feel like they don't capitalize off that home crowd, one of the best home crowds in the NBA. But looking at the Warriors, I believe they're 19-1 this playoff run at home. So it's like one team knows how to capitalize at home, one team they don't know. And again, they're a young team, and I feel like we're gonna be looking back at Game 4 and Game 5 and be like, this is where they lost it. This is where they should have.
Mm-hmm. Game 4 for sure.
Game 4 for sure. I feel like that's the biggest game.
Yeah.
So we all think it's going 7. I'm not saying anything. I don't think it's going. I think it's over.
I'm not saying anything.
It's because the Boston Celtics fan. Listen, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of 3 Guys Mike. Thank you so much, guys. Over 350 views on our last episode, right?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, guys, for viewing it, for liking it, for commenting, guys. If you aren't subscribed, guys, go ahead and please subscribe down below if you like hearing our takes. And have a great day, guys. Thank you.